Yeah, um, it's alcoholic. Um, Coming to you from um, outside Tokyo. I used to live in a really freaking nice area. By day, I'm in a really nice area of Tokyo. But anyways, oh God, where do I start? I've been doing these videos for I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years. One time I had a year and I went back, and then I showed myself having 2 years and then going back to drinking, and then longest I've ever had in my life was 7. And then right now I got like, see, my short-term memory, that's what happens when I go back to drinking and drugging. My short-term memory goes down the toilet. I got 6 days today, which is the longest I've had in about 2 months. I basically I just saw something really horrible happen. And to a friend of mine, and I just couldn't take it. It was just, it was too painful. I mean, some people maybe are stronger than me and they can watch a family member get killed or somebody get tortured to death, or their kids going across the street and they get hit and killed by a car and stay sober through stuff like that. But I just couldn't, and I feel guilty and bad and wrong. But I was at a meeting today and she said, well, she just said it doesn't matter, you know. And I couldn't have survived it. I just couldn't. I just couldn't survive what I saw. Sober, I just couldn't stay sober through it. Plus, I was doped up. Well, I had an injury and then I was on pain meds, and then I just saw something I really wish I never would have seen happen to a friend of mine that I'd known for years. And I can tell you honestly, straight up right now, that I would have 4 years if I wouldn't have seen that like 2 months ago. I'd have 4 years and a half, but it was just too much for me. And some people, I mean, they can watch their friend get tortured to death, or people shot that are friends of theirs or whatever, and they can stay sober through it maybe. Or I've heard of women that they have a child die or parent die and they stay sober through it. And I guess what's done is done, you know. But I'm glad I made it back. And I got like, God, see, that's what it does. It just destroys my short-term memory, when you've been a bad alcoholic for years. Um, 6 days. And then I've had a lot of guilt because my first meeting was when I was 16 years old. That was my very first AA meeting, and I was basically running from. I had a choice. It was 30 years in jail, or it was treatment for a month for beginners, plus probation, and then that was about it. So I opted for the easier. So that was my first getting sober was at 16, and I went to a month treatment center, and then I went to 4 months. But I guess I just, I'm glad um, that I made it back, and that I got 6 days. Even though my short-term memory shot, I mean, you could offer me a lead role in a movie right now. I was in North Hollywood when it happened. I mean, I couldn't freaking I could I could barely do a television commercial, but I'm just shot. I mean, I feel like I belong in a hospital right now. I basically blacked out, drank. I went through about $4,000 worth of narcotics. Plus, well, actually, the scary thing is the alcohol started working again. Alcohol hadn't worked for me. In other words, I would drink alcohol and I just wouldn't feel anything. It would just be like I wouldn't get that euphoric glow. And I actually started getting that again, which is the first time in probably 25 years that alcohol started working again. But anyways, I got hospitalized twice. Um, I've woke up in different parts of the place where I'm at, like on the floor, and and different places in and I'm a blackout drinker, so I've always been a blackout drinker. So I have like some years in my life I've had insecurity about this. I have some years in my life that are just blank, and the longest I ever had was 7 years sober. And when I was 7 years sober, I still couldn't get some of that stuff from those years of my drinking and drugging. I just never got it back. And then I have a lot of guilt because I'm a chronic relapser. But you know what happened to me was my parents were drug addicts and alcoholics, my adoptive parents, and they put me on drugs and alcohol at 5 years old. And they doped me up right up until 8, and then I just started doping myself up and drinking from then. I didn't bring it on me. I didn't want to be adopted into that family. But it's like I didn't freaking have a chance from the word go. That's the truth. Because I was bright or I was hyper or something. And they didn't just dope me up on Ritalin, they doped me up on Valium and Demerol and Quaaludes and all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure it happens to other kids and other people. Their parents are on heroin and they put their kids on heroin or whatever. It happens, but it was just a really bad start on life. And I never they never really taught me how to live life. Okay, anyways, but I felt guilty a lot of times. It's not my fault that they did that to me. And maybe it was just so overwhelming that it's not always my fault that I feel like you know, and I've been to thousands of meetings, probably 7,000 meetings in my life. AA and NA, predominantly AA, because I'm predominantly, you know, an alcoholic. Not that that's good or bad. And right now at 6 days, I just feel like I mean, I went to a meeting today and yesterday, but this guy asked me to go to a meeting tonight, and I just told him I can't frickin' do it. I feel like I belong in a hospital bed. I can barely eat. All my muscles ache. Every bone in my body hurts. The only thing I don't have is a headache. Every else, all my joints. It feels like I have arthritis times 10. All my joints in in my whole body just ache. My whole body is in just complete freaking pain. I guess you put yourself in blackout pain relief for 2 months and then you just stop, then maybe all that pain comes all back and hits you at once. And I know it'll get better. Logically. I've sobered up enough at times. I mean, like right now, it's like the same thing I've been through a million times. When you sober up, it's like my mind's like a rat on a wheel. It's sitting thinking about a million different things I should have done to save my friend if I could have. Save his life. Or, and the guy wasn't a drug addict or an alcoholic. He didn't drink or take drugs. He was just involved with with. But anyways, I guess my mind's like on a rat wheel, spinning round and round. And I know that's normal for the first month or two or three. Some people get the pink cloud where they just maybe the first month is tough and then the next 3 months are like bliss. And then, the best times I've had in my life, I was sober. The best times I've had my act together, I was sober. I think my two other relapses were pain medication related, where they put you on the pain meds and then you're kind of feeling good, and then you're at home and you're supposed to take one every 4 hours or two every 4 hours, and I'm taking like six every 2 hours, and then they stop working, and then I feel entitled to bump it up, and I know the next thing to do that is to alcohol or take furfenazine, which works for opiates. That doubles the opiates you're on, but the alcohol like quadruples it. But when you get into the alcohol, you're playing with your life, you know. And I mean every breath of air I breathe is I I I mean I probably should have died at least 50 or 60, 70 times by now. Overdoses, blackouts, car accidents, falls, just you name it. And I just hurt really bad right now. And my future is just unpredictable. I'm unemployable right now because my short-term memory is just blasted out of the water while I'm in early sobriety. I mean, maybe after I'm sober for a bit, I'll be able to go back to work or something. But, the one thing I did right is I frickin' 6 days ago I had a bunch of bottles of beers and chew highs in the fridge, and I just grabbed them and I just started dumping them in the sink. I just said, fuck it, you know, and I just frickin' dumped them out in the sink, and that's been it. I just said, fuck it, that's it. I just can't take anymore. And to be honest with you, I don't really want to live all that much, but I don't want to commit suicide. I mean, drinking is, if you're an alcoholic, it's a slow suicide, but, I don't want to commit suicide, and I don't want to drink. I don't really want to live all that much either. So I'm just like, every day right now, I'm just struggling, just grasping to stay alive. It's a fight every day for me to get out of bed and eat and drink a little bit of water and have some coffee. For me is a fight. It's a really, really hard battle. That's about all I can do. So I'm beaten up pretty bad.